Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube. It's 7-time figure Olympia champion Sydney Gillen, and we're here to walk you through the beginner version of how to do back, okay? I'm gonna take you through a few staple exercises. Of course, there'll be variations to them. Of course, there's more things that you can do, but this is what you can start with. If you have no idea what you're doing, and you're in the gym for the first time, and you're trying to figure it out, and you're trying to get your health on track, I'm here to help you. So if you have any more questions on what body types you wanna see, what specific exercise you wanna see, what specific questions you have, put those below, and I'll get those pushed out. All right, y'all, we are here with exercise 1 for how to on your back day. We have the low pulley row. Now, as always, this little cliffhanger, you can have multiple attachments for it. I could have this one on, which is more of a demi grip. It's gonna look like this. Or I could even switch out and do more of a V-bar. This is a wider V-bar. You can do a closer one. There's options. Just depending on where you feel it the most and where you want to activate is what machine and what attachment you'll use. So, first things first, I set my weight already. I'm going to scoot up, get up tight on the machine. Get my handles ready, hands wrapped around. From there, depending on the machine, I go high foot on this one just because my legs are short. So I stay close. My abs are tight, my booty is back. I'm going to push back first. Get my feet lower, because I like to keep mine a little bit low, so that way my knees are in the way when I start to pull. When I start to pull, I'm going to use my lats first, not my arms. Use my arms to look like this. That's arms, not a low pulley row for lats. All right, so from here, I'm going to use my lats first. Pull back, pull back, pull back, squeeze the band. Same thing again. Lats engage first. I pull through with my arms. I don't roll with my arms. Looks like so. When I'm getting out of it, I'm gonna slide forward, keep my abs tight so I don't put any pressure on my low back. Drop my feet down, drop the handle down, and that's how you do a low pulley row. All right, now we're on to exercise 2, which is one of your staples. So you have, first exercise is your low pulley row. You can do any type of row. It's a single arm row. You can do dumbbell row. You wanna have rows in your routine just so you're making sure that you're building that depth to your back, okay? So it's like a shallow back would look like just no muscle, no pop, no 3D effect. That would just be like a shallow. It's because the person either doesn't get good activation while they're rowing, or they're just not rowing properly. So, or heavy enough for them. So that's gonna be one thing. Now, exercise number 2, we're gonna go to a pull down. Now, pull down should also be a staple in your routine. You have rows, pull downs. There's really 2 options. You just switch out the handles, but it's basically the same concept how you're doing your workout for your back day. All right, so for here, seats generally like this. It's usually a cable machine that goes like so. If you want to see kind of where your seat needs to be, for me, I like to have no space between my pad and my legs. Sometimes some people get up a little bit closer, but if you go, for instance, if I dropped it down too low, and it's like this, I'm all the way, my butt's off the seat. So I have to make sure that I'm in the perfect position first to do a proper pull. So once this is set, then you get back up, grab the handles, set your weight, and we're gonna start here. Now, part 1, abs go tight, head stays lifted. I'm sliding in, my abs are tight. I'm not gonna start moving until my core is set, my legs are set, my feet aren't pitter-pattering, doing all this number here. Lock the feet down, lock the core down. You're steady in your seat. From here, I'm gonna engage my lats first and then pull through to the top of my chest. Now, it doesn't always have to go to the top of your chest. You can go under your chest if you want a deeper stretch, more of the mid-back option. So option 1, straight to the top of the chest. Option 2, under the chest with a slight lean back. Another variation, if you're crunching for time and you want to kind of stay in the same areas, a lot of people in your gym at the same time, you have another variation you could do where you go reverse. This can stay the same, or you can drop it down a little bit lower. What this does is it takes your legs' ability to help you out of the equation. So if I do this way, I'm going to sit down, get low, my feet are here, nothing's holding my feet. I'm going to lean back, and then I'm going to pull straight down. But it means that since my legs aren't helping me, there's no band holding me down, there's no stoppage holding me down, I'm able to actually just use just my lats versus when you're lifting heavier or in general, you're going to start to use the pad. If it's there, you're probably going to use it. So that is your pull down variation. Now handle-wise, again, you could change to demi grip, you could change to underhand, overhand. You can do a lot of different variations. So it's not necessarily the machine that is changing, it's your body that's changing with the usage of the machine. So if I want a different handle, if I want wider lats, I may have this as the wide bar where I'll do pull downs that way. another option. Or you could just do pull-ups. Different options for whatever you need. But generally, when it comes to your pull downs, it's going to be for depth, but primarily width. Rows would be more so for your depth, okay? So when you're planning your workouts, always think about that. So I had a question about lat activation. Somebody had an injury or they weren't able to get that activation the same. So a large part of how you row is going to determine what you're activating. So if I'm rowing and I'm rowing high, that's all rear delt and more so trap more than anything. If I'm trying to engage my lats, I want my elbows tucked as close into my lats as possible, and I row through, keeping my arms tight. So the further your arms go up, the more you're going out of the lat area and into like the teres major and all that different stuff up on the sides, not where you're actually trying to target. So if your activation is a little bit funky, I wouldn't even do bilateral first. I would start with a single arm, so you could unattach that. You get a handle like this. You take this off. You would drop the weight down, because now, since you're not doing bilateral, you may not need as much weight because you're putting it only on one arm. So I'm going to change my attachment now. This is how you change to single arm one. So for those who don't know, unilateral equals single. So if I want to do that on this machine, I can pull back still, same concept. My foot is up, my hand is placed, my chest is lifted. Same concept of pulling in, get my rotation, get that lat engaged. Pull in, lat first, elbow follows through. I do opposite arm, opposite leg. You can do same arm, same leg, doesn't matter. Just find which one works best for you. And so we're not lopsided, we make sure to do both sides. And you'll find whichever one works the best for you, you'll be able to get that same activation. But you want to start with the lat that is weaker, or the arm that is weaker, whatever is weaker. Always start with that side first, so that way you're able to assess how many quality reps I actually get on this side, so that way you're not giving extra to the side that's already doing what it needs to do. So always think about those things and make sure that you're incorporating unilateral work. Everybody likes to do a lot of bilateral things, but you're not able to see where your weaknesses actually are if you don't do anything single. All right, on to the next one. All right, so one of the number one staples. So you got your low pulley rows. All right, I wouldn't necessarily start with a low pulley row. I generally start with a pull down of some sort. Single arm, double arm, doesn't matter. Start with pull down. After that, then I could go to a row variation. But another variation that's really, really good is also row variation. This one is one I loved as I was a kid. It's your standard T-bar row. Now, T-bar row wise, you got options to take this grip. I generally measure my thumbs to make sure my hands are in the exact same place. This one's really good for getting that meat through the middle of the back. Same concept though, is watching where the machine lines up, see if your thumbs match, see where everything is, so that way everything is always equal. All right, so I got my feet set. I'm gonna drop my booty down. All right, my chest is up, my abs are supported. I'm gonna grab my handle, and then I'm gonna stand up first. I'm keeping that pressure into my legs more so that I'm maintaining and supporting my low back. Now keep in mind I have lordosis, so I'm not going to take the arch out of my back or do anything that's going to put more pressure on my back. So for me, I have to keep my glutes flexed at all times. So from here, I'm up tall, I'm forward, I'm going to drop my elbows back to the sides and squeeze up. Now one thing you don't want to do is, some people do this version here where they're like this and bringing them out. Not as efficient as this and not as hard for me. So I'm going to stay as low as I can, so that way I don't have to put a bunch of weight on here, because the form is keeping me flat. Now if I'm up here and I'm pulling, for me that's going to be more so traps, more so bicep more than anything. Yeah, the weight may be more, but it's not the same activation as if I'm actually hinged from the hips, flat, and doing the T-bar row. So this is one that I would definitely throw in, probably like, depending on how heavy you're going, I would do this one like second or third, sometimes fourth, depending on how many sets you're doing, but it's definitely one that you want to keep in. Now you can take this same machine. If you don't have a T-bar row machine, you can get a barbell like this. Put this barbell in a corner, or if it has something to hold a barbell, like one of those little holes that holds a barbell, you can slide that in and just add a weight that way. Now if you do that way, I would start with like 25s. Once you start trying to lift weight, because if you do the 45s, you might not get the same range of motion. So watch for things like that. So we got the T-bar row, and then we had low pulley row before, pull downs before. A lot of different variations. So that's how you do a standard kind of back workout. One more movement I will show you that you'll be able to have access to no matter what the gym is a one-arm dumbbell row. We'll go over that now. So during this time, I'm trying to show you basically all the equipment that you have access to. When I work out at my main gym, they have a lot of pieces that you may not have access to in your gym. So this whole goal is to be able to show you what you can do if you have those pieces at your house or you're generally, like any gym around the country has a pull down. It has generally a T-bar row. It has a row machine. So this is showing you what your form should look like while you're doing those motions. And of course, every gym has a dumbbell. So options here, if we're gonna do a bent over dumbbell, you can go a little bit higher than this little bar thing. Generally, if I wasn't filming, I'd probably use a bench or the actual dumbbell rack. Since I'm filming, we're not gonna be in the way. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna step my foot back. I'm gonna start rolling my right arm. So that means my left foot is my base. My right foot steps back about a foot's length. I'm gonna take my hand. I'm actually gonna scoot back a little bit more so I can have some more range of motion. All right, here. I'm gonna let my arm hang a little bit. My abs are tight. I'm going to keep this facing this version right here. When I start to row, I'm gonna let that stretch happen through the back of that hip and the back of that lat. I'm gonna rotate and let my lat pull through. When I'm pulling through, I'm pulling with my lat, keeping my hip neutral, getting my lat engaged, pulling up and drive my elbow up. Now, when I'm doing this, notice that my arm isn't going here. It's not back here, doing the tricep kickback. I'm pulling through and driving to the side of my hip, right in this area. So when you're rowing, that's exactly what you want to do. So again, you start with your weaker side. When I'm switching it out, switch my feet, make sure they're in the exact same place when I switch. The goal is to keep that chest up, abs in tight, and feel that stretch all the way through the back of that lat. All right, and that is the fourth option that you take for a back day. So we have low pulley rows. You can do them V-bar, you can do wide grip, you can do demi grip, you can do underhand, overhand. That's already 4 different variations you have just for that one machine. Those same variations can be taken on the pull downs, okay? So that's already 8 exercises you have right there. Then you have your T-bar row variations. You can take 2 different variations for that. You can even do underarm or underhand with the barbell. And then you have your more isolated work, which is going to be your dumbbell rows. So that's generally how you can plan your back day workouts. They don't need to be extremely extravagant. Do the basics, stick to the basics, find that activation and keep progressively overloading on that version if your goal is to grow. And even if it's not to grow and you're maintaining like myself, still do those variations because it helps maintain the muscle just how it grew it. All right, y'all, and that's it.